This is episode 270. Who is William Eyelash?
On this episode of the Tone Control, we Derek actually planned some topics, but then we just kept talking about whatever we felt like for the whole episode instead.
Steamrolled myself on that one. Yeah. So
it's a fun one.
It's a fun one. It's the Tone Control.
It's a fun one.
I think it's fun. I think we've said this before. I think they've all been pretty fun lately, but I don't know. Maybe I've just got like Stockholm Syndrome with myself.
All right. Ding. It's the Tone Control. You know, the thing is, when we roll in here and like basically sit down, touch my hair for a second and push record, it's like we're anchors and we haven't reviewed anything. It's just going to come on a prompter. We're going to you know what I mean? I'm Ron Burgundy, you know what I mean? Like we're just going to do that, except we don't have any producers around us. There's no teleprompters. We have no fucking idea what's going on. Until a theme music is playing and I realize, you know what, I'm just going to say that thing I'm thinking.
Yeah, right. We do all the jobs here, right?
Yeah.
You know, we do, all of them. Anchor,
or they don't get
writer.
done.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Which is the subtext there, I guess.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to the Tone Control.
Including making the show. I've been thinking for the last few episodes, I guess, which means few months. We had dabbled with the idea of changing our recording day again, maybe just to make things easier. And I'm noticing a pattern that recording day tends to be an always insane day for me. It's
because
like
it's Monday or the days when we do it on a different day, that day ends up insane anyway.
No, it's just Monday. It's every other Monday is insane for me for some reason. And it's not because of the podcast, but it's on days that I have to podcast on a Monday. Yeah. Those days tend to just be like chaotic and it's never the same reason. It's not like there's other recurring things on my calendar that conflict with this schedule or every other Monday I do something else in my life that's distracting. It's not that. It's just every other Monday, it just tends to just be a really freaking crazy day. Like I'm just busy and like nutso, and there's a lot of things pulling my attention. And this has been happening a lot.
We're on a bad schedule in like a full moon kind of way.
Yeah. So maybe we record next week and then reset the 2 weeks.
We flip it. We give them the old left jab and then they won't know what to expect.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just such a weird thing. So, like, for example, today I had the day off work because Jack turned 2 yesterday. Yeah. And
hey,
Beth
great
and I
job, Jack.
Hey, you did it. 2 orbits.
You made it.
Well done. We like to take some time off work around his birthday to, one, like do the party thing, right? And get ready for all that stuff. But also to just have some time for us to, like, take a beat, reflect, have a moment of just like, whoa. It's going, you know, and it lets us look back at a whole year without it being holiday time, which I like. Yeah. So we had today off work and Friday off of work, and party was Saturday. Super cool, really fun. And today was just like, again, busy. I really wanted to sit around and kind of do nothing and catch up on some shows or something like that. But I had so many errands to run and I was just all over the place. I feel like I drove all across New England today. And then I got home and Beth's like got the basement torn apart. She's putting cabinets and furniture together. She's putting like shelving together and shit. And I'm just like, oh my God. So, and then before you know it, it's like 4:00 and we got to pick up Jack soon from daycare. And I'm like, oh man, I got a podcast tonight. Man, like my day's not even close to over. I still have like other commitments later in the day.
Yeah.
So just that's the kind of thing that happens. It's like always like busy day, crazy, lots of hustle bustle, and then it's like, man, I gotta like fire this machine back up again at 8:00 tonight.
Right, and there's not like a thing that you can point to. You could be like, you know what? If we just did this shit on Wednesday, because
Yeah,
it's not a recurring thing.
It's not a recurring thing.
This is the
but
recurring thing.
Yeah, I do think it is maybe the beginning of the week crazy.
It sure could be.
There's
Because
some of
that's
that for sure.
common, right? And
Yeah.
I do. Today was not that for me, but I often do have. Well, the way it works, I mean, whatever. I work for myself, so like unless there's a deadline that which is pretty rare that you know what I mean, that there's something that really gets out of hand on me. It's just that I end up thinking to myself, oh, these are the things that I'll do. These are the projects I'll work on, and then it's Monday, so it's like 12:30. It's like,
yeah.
It's like when should I stop for lunch kind of thing before I've even started on anything audio. Today wasn't like that, but yeah.
All that other stuff.
The administrative things.
Yeah. Yeah, I have days at work like that where it's like the first half of the day, I feel like I'm just communicating. I'm just emailing or in meetings or chatting. And then it's like, okay, now it's after lunch. I can actually get some work done.
Yeah. But that is how you're supposed to. I mean, I'm not supposed to like piece it out throughout the day, right? That's the thing. You're supposed to like chunk your emails in the morning and then in the afternoon if you do a second swing at them, right?
Yeah,
kind of
thing. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Maybe that depends on it might be better for your field so you don't lose focus on your audio work. But like for me, sometimes depending on the question and the work and whatever it is, it's not that big a deal to pause and answer an email. But I've
That's
mentioned
just
this before.
It's the guru in me talking.
I tend to work in like really short, like 15 to 20 minute bursts, and then take a lap, right? Just a really quick break, like quick work, quick break, instead of long work and a break. Some people do the Pomodoro method, which I'm not sure if you've heard about, which is like you work for.
That's like the dog, right?
It's tomato. It's tomato timer. Pomodoro method.
I think I was making I think I was trying to make
Pomeranian joke.
Trying to connect with that, and swing and a miss.
It is not that. I think it's like you work for 25 minutes and then you break for 5, and you do that for 4 rounds, and then you break for long, like 30 or something.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, that's. I don't know.
I
doesn't
do kind of do
jive
that.
with me.
I do kind of do something like it's not on a schedule, but I'll like work for a while and then I will I'll do like some exercise for you know what I mean, like so it's that kind of thing. Like I will take like a couple of minutes and then sit back down.
Reps.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I'll do like between 15 and 30 minutes of stuff, and then go like empty the dishwasher. And then come back and do that.
I've accidentally landed on something that's like a way of organizing. I'm glad that somebody else does this, because that is a little confirmation that I might be onto something.
It's just what works for me, and it's part of what makes going to work in an office really difficult for me. Is because I can't be getting up every 20 minutes and like doing nothing. Because like I'll take.
No, you don't understand. It makes me more productive.
Yeah, like we have just area rugs on our main level, so I'll vacuum, right? It takes just a couple minutes to vacuum the area rug.
There you go.
Or it's just these little bits throughout the day where I'm like kind of, it's not multitasking because that's not really a real thing, but I'll zip downstairs and like measure up parts for 3D printing or something and just take some notes for later, or just
but
like the little bit of pre-work. It's
invigorating, right? Because like you're saying, you're checking these boxes too, because there's a psychological impact to that. Like you said, this takes a few minutes. Bam, you know what I mean? I do love that when I think of all the time. When I think of something, it's like, well, if I just repot those basil plants, which is like this afternoon, it was like. I found myself like, well, geez, the girls aren't going to be home for 15 minutes. If I just repot those basil plants, you know what I mean?
And a lot of times that's nicer than being like, I'm going to sit on the couch and scroll my phone. As much as your brain is like, sit on the couch and scroll your phone because no one's going to interrupt you.
The doom is calling you.
The doom calls. Yeah. It's, I know what you mean. Like, I'll get like one more little thing done. And it feels as like a little bit of a, like, I didn't have to be asked a second time, or I didn't have to make special time, or I didn't have to do, I just got it done. No worries. Yeah, I like it.
Well, we had a weekend of getting stuff done over here because we've been rearranging and sort of updating Arya's room. I think I probably talked about this at some point. We got rid of that story, that like storybook house bed thing. She was done with that, and she's done with Pink, by the way. Pink is out. And so she has more of a grown-up bed, but it's like a half bunk, and there's like a desk and some shelves that are attached to it. It's kind of cool, and there's like a space underneath. So her dolls have like an apartment underneath now, which is kind of neat.
Awesome.
It's like a hobbit hole.
Right on.
My dad came over a week or two ago, and we painted one day. So now I did a little bit of touch up because we wanted to rearrange some of the things on the walls, and everything's like all decorated, cleaned out the whole, like there was just piles of toys everywhere in like the loft area and stuff. All this is like straightened out. We've got piles of stuff that's like, this is the stuff you're too young for. A friend who has a much, much younger kid is actually coming over on Wednesday, and we're just going to go through all this stuff like, hey, what do you want for your kid, kind of thing, because this is all stuff she hasn't touched, and so on. So it's all kind of, it's pretty boy, it looks big up there.
I remember loving that feeling as a kid. New room, new me. Even if you just like kind of rearrange at best, like that's very invigorating. Yeah, I remember that feeling. And one of the things I'll do as a break during work is clean my office, and it's got a similar feeling. Yeah. Like dust, disinfect, vacuum, like all the deep clean. And it doesn't take that long because it's just one room, and I keep it pretty neat in here anyway. But yeah, it's a nice reset, and it just kind of like, now I can focus. So that's
Chef
cool.
Cleaning their kitchen.
Yep. Yep.
She's got smart lights and an Alexa in there, which she's had for a little while. But so she controls her, tells her lights what color to be while she's reading and all this other stuff, which is cute. It sets a timer for her, and she knows when it's lights out and all this stuff at bedtime. And the other night, I'm like putting her to bed. I'm like, okay, good night, honey, love you. And I'm about to close the door, and I'm like, Alexa, make the lights green. I slam the door behind me. It's like she's cackling in there. She's like, damn you. I mean, she doesn't say damn you. She's 8, but she's like basically like that.
Come on, man. God. Yeah.
Just a really proud father moment. Really,
classic dadhood.
Totally pranked my daughter. Anyway.
That's good.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, Jack turned 2 yesterday, properly 2. We had the party on Saturday, and now we said no gifts, and the only condition for that was if you have an older kid and you need room in your own house, like we'll take some secondhand stuff, but you don't need to buy them. We're overrun with stuff. We're overrun with toys. Yes, we need to go through them and make room and stuff, and probably donate some things or sell some things or whatever it is. And of course, coffee table just jam-packed.
Yeah, those rules get violated instantly.
Instantly. Oh, I just wanted to get him a little something. Oh, okay, thanks.
Oh, good thing you're the only one, you say to everybody as they come in the door.
Yeah. He's also interesting. I find this to be a little funny when people don't really do the birthday math or like the size math around the time of year your kid will be a certain age.
Oh, yeah.
So, we got like some... Although it's slowing down, but when he was little, we would get like a long sleeve heavy sweater that's 24 months. It's like, well, he's going to be 24 months in July.
Yeah.
So like, hopefully it fits come
that's like,
6 months later.
Exactly. I mean, that's I mean this in every possible way. That's like something I would think of. And I don't think about, you know what I mean? Like babies, man, I got to be honest with you. I am not able to guess your kid's age. Like, it's never going to happen.
No
That's
way.
not who I am. But I would still be like, this is, wait, hold on.
Wrong
This
time.
is wrong.
Yeah.
This is wrong. Because when they're that small, they change so damn fast.
They do.
I'm at the point, like, my kid can keep shoes through a season now. But, it wasn't that way.
Yeah. In fact, one of the only people who thought that through was like during the early days of like long sleeve, short sleeve, heavy, lightweight, depending on the time of year and how old he'll be, was your mom.
My mom?
Your mom came through and was like, had the big idea.
Nice.
And I was like,
she's very organized. She's very organized.
Yeah. And we were like, because we had a few gifts from other people, and it was just like, oh no, like he's never going to wear this.
Yeah.
He's never going to get anywhere near it. Yeah. So anyway.
That is funny. That is funny. My mom gets on that. So, okay. She likes to get the fancy Christmas dress that Arya wears every December for like the parties and fancy things. But she buys them in January because there are these sales in Macy's. They're trying to get rid of all this stuff. And so she's bought dresses that I swear are like a decade out. And she's mathing it out, and she's going, now this one's going to be, and she, like last year, she came with like 3 of them in like middle January, and she's like, now this one's going to be for about this year. And so we've got this like future stock of holiday, like family photo dresses.
Out, huh? Not just annually, but like,
oh no, we have some that are like, she's not going to be fitting in them until she's at least like 13.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. But she's like, I love this one. I had to get it. And it's like, this would be too big for Marielle, potentially. It's like, Arya's going to be in that when she's like 14.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go.
So anyway,
nice
my mom, everybody.
Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's do something. What's this mean? Oh. Oh, good. There was an ending.
Spoopy. Some weird-ass reverb.
Yeah, Meteor. That's a Caroline. Oh, that's a Caroline pedal. Yeah.
They're a good follow on Instagram if you're not doing that.
Well, I'm not doing Instagram at all, but I would happily take your advice.
That's the only exception, I suppose.
Right. That's my excuse.
So, there's, again, big surprise. Not a whole lot in the notes today, but I just, because I mentioned it last time, I had another gig. We had our 90s night gig, and it was mega fun and really cool. And 90s music is just great.
90s music rules. Yeah.
90s music is just great. Do you want to hear what our set list was?
I do. Although I think I know a couple of the songs because I'm privy to these sorts of things. But
oh, yes, as you do.
As you do.
Having existed in the 90s and such.
Well, and also just being in Discord, and I'm pretty sure you just shared it a second ago.
I did. I shared a couple, yeah. Actually, Beth was able to come to this show, which is the first time Beth was free to come to see me play live in a couple of years. Well, a couple of years.
A couple of years, you say?
Yeah, actually, a little longer than that. Would that be 2
years? Is that what you traditionally mean by a couple?
A little, like 2 years and 9 months, probably. Yeah, like
right around there.
Give right around there. Yeah. So anyway, it was 90s night, and we, a few friends who were there have asked me to send them this set list so they could turn it into a playlist on Spotify or whatever. So, that's cool. I think that's a sign of a good set. But it was Everlong by Foo Fighters, right into Inside Out. You opened with that? We opened with Everlong. So hang on. Let me back up. We had our drummer has a sample pad with his kit, and he loaded it with a bunch of 90s sounds. Just a bunch of nostalgia core bombs to deploy on the audience, right? And so the first one was the dial-up 56K sound. Okay. The whole thing.
Yes.
And so as it's doing that, like near the end, and it's like fizzling out, that's when I start playing Everlong. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of like they cross into each other in a great way and stuff. And so that was really fun. So Everlong into Inside Out by Eve 6. Really great to play live. Super fun. Yep. You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette. Good by Better Than Ezra, which is just the most 90s song there is. Criminal by Fiona Apple, which I didn't know how to play prior to this set, but is such a vibe. Oh my God. There's just like so much cool space because it's not a guitar song really. Right. There's so much cool space to kind of have fun in that song. So if you're looking for something like that, it's really, the studio version has the original record version has a really long tail on it, and it's great to just kind of riff around and try out different, modes and scales and things in different, this weird non-guitar space. Then Basket Case by Green Day.
Nice.
Because he got it. Seether by Veruca Salt, which I was not familiar with prior to this band, but is a friggin' banger.
Veruca,
Yeah, rips.
So you said Seether. Wasn't there a band called Seether?
There's a band called Seether, yes.
That's what I thought you were going to say. And then okay, right on.
Yeah, song Seether by Veruca Salt, female fronted, just like garage rock, fuzzy guitars, cool, trashy riffs, fun. My phone locked. Just a Girl, probably one of my favorite riffs of the night. Just a Girl by No Doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Flagpole Sitta, we play that all the time actually, and it's always a crowd pleaser, really easy and fun song to play. Teenage Dirtbag * actually released in the year 2000.
Oh.
But, we snuck it in.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine, right?
It's of the times,
They didn't kick you out?
No.
Get off the stage. Teen Spirit.
Wait a minute, some nerd in the back. Wait a minute.
Hold on. Actually.
Into Smells Like Teen Spirit, which I forgot most of the guitar solo for, but fudged it, and it was fine.
Whatever.
Try not to sweat that too much. And then I changed guitars to go to E flat, and we played Bullet with Butterfly Wings right into Bulls on Parade. And
nice. Is Bulls on Parade in E flat, or do you just?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
The original is, and because Smashing Pumpkins, I guess, at the end of Bullet with Butterfly Wings, they roll down to an F sharp, which is actually F natural, but Bulls on Parade starts in that key. So we were just like, let's just butt them up to each other.
Yeah.
And, a big like cymbal wash at the end. Crack, bam, down.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
I mean, this is why it makes a great playlist, right? Is because you thought about the sort of things that you would. Anyway, great job.
Yeah. We like most bands, we kind of like center set list design around guitar tunings and stuff, just to like make that transition faster for the audience.
But that's no different than like a DJ blending music that's going to work back to back to back. I mean, it's in principle. I mean,
in principle, right? It's not like a DJ's picking one musical key and that's the key for the whole night. But they're working on that kind of thing, and it's a great point.
Or they're shaping tempos even if they need to. I mean, like real DJ stuff too, where they're actually like composing bits of it. With the songs and blending the songs together, and they'll manipulate things and stuff to make them.
I love watching that.
Like proper DJs where it's like so-and-so's doing a set at the whatever and people are going to be dancing. Like there are fucking rules to that shit. And one of the rules is the beat don't stop. And these guys are like, they'll bend a song into another song if they have to.
Yeah, I've seen some Instagram videos, like reels and stuff, of DJ, not tournaments, but kind of like, the idea of a rap battle, but it's like
a battle
DJs.
of the bands, but it's a battle of the tables or something.
A battle of, and of turntablists, perhaps. Right. I don't know what the right terminology is, but it's amazing what some of these people are pulling off. So, but anyway, the set's really fun. Bullet with Butterfly Wings, I learned for this set. As with parts of most of the other songs, but that's a cool song. It's really trashy and really like it's you're encouraged to play sloppy, I think, as is expected with a lot of 90s stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of the stuff in
this set.
Era. Even like Good by Better Than Ezra, which is just like overdrive and clean guitar. It's just something about that style of the time. It's a little loose. It's a little rough around the edges, and no one cares. And it actually kind of lends to the sound really well. So, but yeah, I did the Tom Morello solo for Bulls on Parade with the scratching and the wah and stuff, which I don't have a kill switch on my guitar, which is, I think, what he does. But it's not easy, I can tell you that, because you're really used to guitars sustaining for that kind of thing. And then when your right hand stops, it doesn't make any noise. It doesn't make any noise. And so on traditional guitar playing, you're probably, it'll sustain unless your left hand is muting. But surprise, your left hand mutes the whole damn solo. So like, right. So it's a bit of a weird like adjustment to make, that feeling of like, I just have to keep this thing making noise. So I did whatever the bar count is for that. I did half of it with the scratchy bits and the other half just shredding on F sharp minor pentatonic, because
make it your own a little bit.
Yeah. Pull out the weird, like all the Hendrix licks and stuff. And it's really fun to do. So a little homework assignment for the audience. Go ahead and do that. But set was really good. Crowd was awesome. There was a guy up at the front that probably had a few too many, but he was like banging his fists on the stage. And he'd like come up for air every now and then and like scream the lyrics into the sky. And we're like looking at him.
We're like, holy shit.
This guy's going for it.
I have these
it's fun.
old memories of like Bullet with Butterfly Wings, particularly, but there was like the TV that was in the room that my brother and I used to hang out in and like was our kind of doing cool, fun stuff room. The TV that was there, the TV that had the Nintendos, the various Nintendos attached to it and stuff like that. That was the one, I have a memory of that music video on the MTV there, on that CRT that we used to play fucking Turok Dinosaur Hunter on, you know?
Yeah.
And Killer Instinct 64 or Gold or whatever they called it.
It's weird.
The Nintendo and the Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
It's a core memory, like we were just talking about Inside Out, but it's last time. But it's weird how you have those things that are just like so firmly concrete in your brain, and you never would have. It's always the stuff you never expect. But like the feeling of being in that room listening to Smashing Pumpkins is pretty nuanced.
Yeah, I mean, that's it though. That's the thing.
Yeah. So fun set. Played with another band, did not have any of the issues that we talked about last time as far as like the etiquette thing. Because it was a little bit of like they've been around for a while. They said things like, hey, did you guys want to share any gear or do you not want to bother because there's only 2 bands?
And we were like that sounds like you've thought about this already.
Sounds like you know the answer, yeah. Stuff like that. So it was good, real good.
Very cool. Like to hear it. Hey guys, music's not dead. And in spite of what you and I mean, I joke in the Discord, but music really did peak in the 90s. It's just a fact, and the technology's been ruining it since then. So
like
since
joke.
CRT televisions went away and I stopped seeing that music video. Yep. No, anyway, that's another joke. That's another different thing.
That's a deep cut joke. Come into Discord and scroll way back and you'll find the origin of that joke.
I saw like after that whole conversation, I saw like 3 other reply videos get suggested to me on YouTube. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch you, but good job.
Yeah.
You know, way to pile on.
Should we talk about that briefly?
I kind of was thinking no would be my answer because it has been talked about.
I don't want to.
They got
I'm
it
not
right.
here. I don't mean talking about it to add our take. I just mean to explain what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. We've said too much, yeah.
So there was a video from Rick Beato, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. He did one of these takes on like the problem with music today. And it was, it got like a zillion views really quickly. And I don't watch that stuff usually because it's very old man yells at cloud for me. And I think music today is friggin' awesome. And if I had the music I have today, he said in his new Sleep Token hat, that when I was a kid, when I was younger, I don't know.
Yeah.
Things would have been friggin' nuts. But
we still hear music every year that's mind blowing. So
yeah. There you go. You go.
Right?
So Fantano, I think his name's Anthony Fantano. He goes by like the Needle Drop, I think is his username around. He's a music commentator guy, pretty widely known on YouTube. Sidebar, my mom met him once. Nice. Cool. Weird.
It's a good good reference. Yep.
Credentials are solid. He did, and I don't watch his stuff very much either, but I have caught a few of his, updates on like, this is my favorite records of the year and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he posted about Rick Beato, and I was like really surprised to see that he bothered. So I watched it. Like he just seems like one of these guys.
Right.
He seems like one of these guys that wouldn't get into that. And I watched it, and he has like a 25-minute thing on just like kind of, taking Rick to task, so to speak, but in a good way. And I think his points are all extremely valid. So we were talking about that video and the exchange between them in Discord. So, excuse me. That's what that's the joke.
And that's it. And he nailed his take, and as politely as is possible, I think.
Sure.
So it's done, and that's why you don't need to hear us about it, because he got it. And probably these other people got it too, that I saw suggested videos to me. But I thought it was funny to see. And good, because they're right. But that's the joke. The 90s were the peak of music. And it's all over now, everybody.
Honestly, there's a lot in that corner. You know, there's a lot working for the 90s to say that music was the best in the 90s. Like, that's not wrong to say.
not total horseshit. No. The joke being that, like, as if music there's no good music since then, right? It's like we head down this path like he did. But, you know, the one thing I guess that I'd say is, like, try to be charitable to somebody who's like, what life experiences caused you to get to this being your sort of the core position that you want to do a video ranting about, kind of thing. Because it's obviously very different than our core experiences, and like all of the points were very carefully answered and everything like that, and that's right. But it is somebody in a place of like historical musical privilege. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the only way you can be there and have this opinion, like music's really gone downhill lately. And technology is the reason, is kind of the gist of the whole thing, right? And it's like, because and that essentially means gatekeeping is the reason, right? Because
exactly. I was just going to say the term
it's just harder and more, like you take away this stuff and it's just harder and more expensive. So, so that's just what I find myself thinking, you know, and I still see, like, my Google feed today, a famous studio is probably closing, and everybody's starting to talk about it, you know, because it's like rumors before they announce or something, and it's this classic place that has been in business for you know, decades, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that, like, when I was in high school or something, when CBGB's closed.
Right.
And I remember feeling like I'd never even been there, but I remember feeling like some mild outrage about it, that it was this like institution that was going away. This live punk rock club where like Ramones and Blondie and everybody got started. And it's like, how could they? Don't they know? Right?
But also on top of that, like, is this is something collapsing? Is this a sign? Is this not the bad thing, but a sign of the eventual real bad thing, right? Which is, I think, that kind of the undertone that I am thinking about when I'm trying to understand this guy's position, and then I see something about a big music studio closing. And it's like, and yet music's getting made. And like the comments in that article, I just saw this today, and it's like flooding into my mind right now. But like the comments on the article are that, like, you can record a Taylor Swift album in a closet.
Yeah.
It was the literal quote that somebody commented, and I don't even know the credentials or
Billie
anything.
Eilish did. Like, Billie Eilish's big record from a few years back, what's the When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, was recorded in a bedroom, truly.
Right. And
it's fucking great.
You know,
it's like such a captivating record. And
that's being said in one context, like you can make a Taylor Swift record in a closet. I mean, maybe, I guess, sort of.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, sure. But that's being said as like, don't you see how this is going downhill? The flip side of that, though, is like, is that Billie Eilish record trash?
Who is William Eyelash?
Who is this William Eyelash? Well, I've never heard of him. But you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Are you saying that that's crap?
Oh, because newsflash, it's not.
Because
I think it's not far to say that, like, oh, well, then people learning the craft and experiencing the arts is crap. Like, it's not, like, obviously that's a huge leap to make, but I think we should be investing more in the arts just as a people. And so if somebody wants to make a record in their garage or their basement or whatever, cool.
Cool.
Like, great.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyway, we said we wouldn't talk about it.
We said we wouldn't talk about it. It's got to be right. And so anyway, I guess that's the point.
I think
it's fear. It's fear that leads somebody in that position to feel this way. And yeah.
Well, it's not very dissimilar from guitar modeling versus analog gear. It's not all that different from any of that stuff. It's the fear of becoming irrelevant. And I don't know. I mean, I still, like I did when I was 14, crave music in a way that will never be satisfied. And it's the crave for the stuff I love, the stuff that I don't know about yet. And I found so much new music in the last few years, and I just like, it's exponential, and it's very like just more all the time. Give me more and more and more. And that's cool, right? And that's a really fun way to think about it. And then it inspires me to make music and do all this. So, but I'm doing it in my home office here. Does that make it bad? No. What a stupid thing to think.
You know what's funny that I just thought of while you're saying that. There's all kinds of great music, recent music that I love, and it's still getting repeated and all this stuff. There's old stuff that I can go back in my library and be like, oh man, let's pull, Everlong.
This still hits.
You know what I mean? Like, and then there's also stuff that I loved back in that year, and I put it on now, and I cannot listen to it. It's out of tune, out of time. It's cheap. It's bands that were not popular and couldn't afford real production.
But is that why you loved it?
But at the time, I remember feeling that the rawness had something to it. But now I go back and look at it, and like I can hear too much of the tempo fluctuations, and I can hear too much of the singing being out of key, and I can't listen to it anymore. I try. And I noticed that, and I'm like, man, I really used to love this. I cannot bang my head to this, I know that feeling. So there it goes. It goes backwards. Music was crap back then, Is I guess that's the circle I'm trying to tie up here.
Yeah. I've had some songs over the years that it's like, I mentioned Doomsday by Lizzie McAlpine recently on the show. That's one of the songs that I just like grab onto, and I listen until there's nothing left. I wring out that cloth until there's nothing left, right?
Yeah.
And I love it for the whole time. And then this just happened like today or yesterday. Yeah, a song like that I was obsessed with in recent memory will come back on, and I'm like, meh. And it's not that I'm over it. It's not that I think it's, or I guess I am over it, but it's not that I think it's a bad song suddenly. I just don't have that like, oh, let me pour my whole self into this song. That goes away for some reason. And it's so weird how that happens.
It can come back, but
it can.
Yeah.
You know what actually has a lot to do with it is how loud I'm listening to it, and whether or not it's in headphones. Because it's like, if it's in headphones and it's like really getting like the whole, I've got it like,
it's in the whole headphone.
It's in the whole head, right? It's in the whole thing. And it blocks out other stuff, other sounds, and it's the only thing my brain can focus on. Like, that's a good recipe for becoming addicted to a song in my case. So anyway.
You have to receive it with enough potency. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
To generate a proper addiction.
Turn it up in the headphones.
See, this is a good conversation.
It is. Look
accidentally falling over it in a dark alley again.
Anyway, go check out those videos if you're interested in this topic, I guess. Or conversation.
Don't, and you've already learned about it.
Save yourself the headache of watching two guys complain about music. But yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like have you seen like I experience this with Star Wars sometimes, which is like Star Wars fans ruin Star Wars for everyone else.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel that way about music?
Oh.
Or guitar or recording or other aspects of this whole industry?
Okay. I guess what's coming to mind is like somebody who really wants me to like the album that they're super into, and I don't care. And they're like telling me about all the things that they love about it until I care. And we're just never getting there. It's a treadmill.
Yeah.
So I'm just in this endless conversation because they need me to say that I love it kind of thing. I think that's happened to me a couple of times throughout my life.
I think it's because people want to share
Yeah.
the thing they love
Yeah.
because they love it. And that's just a human thing. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, like,
I don't know if
think
that's what
is
you're getting at, but yeah.
sort of. It's adjacent for sure. I think the thing that I'm getting at is more like what we've talked about in this show, where I just can't invest in, I can't emotionally invest in a lot of the guitar stuff going on right now, because it's like, it feels all the same. Like, it feels like there's nothing really, really getting me jazzed about gear and stuff. It's a similar thing where, and the members of the guitar community who are still, like we've said before, drilling deep for this stuff and the constant grind
for gear
of, like,
in particular kind of stuff.
For gear and like for content and for like the tone chase of things that are like really minuscule, like the minutia of that last 1% of tone or whatever we've said. Like that's the kind of thing. That's what I mean by it ruins it for me, because it's like that's cool, but also like I can't get into it that far, and I feel like other people look at that as like this guy's not legit, But
well, we're fortunate though, the two of us, because if you were just slamming on gear, if you were just every new JHS pedal, I'd be on the other end of this call like, rad.
You'd be feeling what I feel. It's like,
well, because I'm not going to throw you under it either. Like, if you were really bringing stuff here, you know what I mean? So we'd be doing this thing, and I'd be like, oh, so this one's got 2 fuzzes in it.
This one's got different clipping diodes.
Like, we have so many episodes where we were basically a news show for a bit, which is weird because it was bi-weekly. It was always weird. But every once in a while we'd be right on the fucking bleeding edge of something. It'd come out that just breaking news, Walrus Audio. And
breaking news, reverb.com launches.
We were there.
Yeah, right on the front lines.
But anyway, we've just, like you said, it sort of rotates around, and
I think it's just because I know now, after all these years of being not just doing the podcast, but being there's this whole time before the podcast where I cared a lot about this stuff too. So it's 20 years probably of like just obsessing over every little aspect of guitar things. And what I've learned from that is it'll be there.
Yeah, yeah.
When I want it, and I can leave it alone.
That makes me think though that we've been doing this for 10 years. There have been times of great innovation in those 10 years.
Absolutely.
Right? And this doesn't feel like one of them, but like something's going to come around again. Right now what would grab my attention is much more ease of use stuff, because we've spent 10 years on this tone chasing thing, and now all these open my another week, another news story about famous guitarist admits that modeling is okay, right? That's what I see every other Monday or something.
Right.
So that's done. So now it's like when somebody creates the bass thing that I don't know if I've talked about on this show, but I've talked about it to people, but there's like a thing that I want probably UAD to create, and I will buy that from them, and I've told them exactly what I need, and nobody's listening to me. But anyway, it's like if somebody creates that, and it's not a new sound or some better version of an existing sound, it's a workflow, right? And that's what I'm going to be like, aha, And I think like back in the day, robot tuners, that was meant to be a workflow, right?
It was. That's a great, So we could talk about that as like not a failed innovation, because it did work. It was just
worked,
like
but it was a solution looking for a problem.
Correct. Yes.
Right? So UAD, by the way, I have an actual problem. I'm not just making stuff up. Anyway, I'm gesturing down to my gear. That's why I don't even know if my hands are in the frame. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's I feel a little bit like what's left, right? But I'm sure people have felt that way the whole time. So I just
Probably.
I have confidence that I could crack open the door to the gear world again, and I would have fun. Like I could dive into that probably relatively easily. It's just not where I'm at right now, and it's nice. I think I've afforded myself, and I think the current state of like the internet and YouTube and all these things like where we learn about this gear,
Yeah.
like it's the speed at which this stuff is delivered to us. Like I don't have to worry about catching the latest issue of Guitar World. You know, it's just constantly, and you learn so much just from the headline.
It'd be a podcast where you're just reading the magazine, where it's like an audiobook. We're just like,
dude, you know what my favorite
translating
thing is?
into audio publication.
One of my favorite things is that when somebody posts like a tweet or something, it's like they should make a blah blah blah, and someone's like, "Congratulations, you've invented something that
thing
already
that came out
exists."
10 years ago." Yeah.
Yeah. So one of them recently was there should be like a always live podcast experience that you don't need a device or you don't need to subscribe to. You can just like
just
turn your
free.
device on and it's there. And
The first comment,
replies
would
were
it
like,
be ad supported?
The first reply was like, "You've invented radio."
If only there were frequencies of light that we couldn't see.
If only people could get together and it was like a podcast, but you didn't have to record it. And, you know, it would just be the experience of that live in the room and together. Oh, like having friends?
Like a party?
Do you mean hanging out?
Hanging out. Derek, do you remember hanging out? So
I do.
we're of an age, we would go to the mall, right?
Yeah.
You would go to the mall. I would go to the mall. In fact, there was a little bit of a time when I would go to not the Walmart parking lot. Now, I didn't like go there to do crimes, but we would just hang around.
For me, it was a Baskin-Robbins Dunkin' Donuts combination. Yeah, we hung out there. And it was because it was open, I think, 24 hours. And it was like a thing we could just go. It was really quiet because it was late. And it was, you just go like,
you just be talking and musing about stuff.
Yeah. And having some ice cream.
Fucking
nothing wrong with that. Fucking right.
Yeah.
Cup of decaf.
It is different now that like kids hang out on their phones, and it's not, I'm not going to say that like they don't have friends or they don't have social experiences, but it's undeniably different, and it remains to be seen how that plays out, you know?
Yep.
Because it's definitely not, they don't just drive somewhere, right? That would be pointless, which is good, right? Because they're not just like burning gas for no reason, but we would just drive sometimes.
Oh, I'd just drive.
We'd just land at the mall, and the malls are, well, actually the mall close to here that's been like empty for ages is I think turning into like a park or something.
Wow.
I think some plans just got, I mean, this
dead.
is something that's going to take like 15 years or something, but I think they're basically going to turn it into like semi-indoor outdoor park space or something like that, which is kind of rad.
Great.
There's a couple of restaurants that remain, and they'll probably just carry on through, you know?
Sometimes I'm surprised the mall here, I live right near it. I'm surprised the mall here is still open.
Yeah. But it's maybe that's like, so if I bring this bow back around, I mean, maybe that's like what's like recording studios that the big studios keep closing or whatever. They're not all closed. You know what I mean? Like some of them are happily doing business. So it's like certain things have shifted. Some of them have adjusted or just been in the right place and fortunate enough. You know what I mean? And sure, it's like there isn't enough volume to keep everything that used to be open still open, because some of that stuff is too easy to replace with a bedroom. And well, I'm sorry, like if you know, a lot of music that gets DI'd or edited or whatever anyway, like why should we need it to be more expensively recorded? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, I feel bad for the people who are the proprietors of those establishments.
Of course, like as a business, that's a drag.
Yeah,
like no one's here like, I wish they would go out of business. No one's like, it's
but
just
there's nothing
the supply
about
and
that
demand thing.
Yeah, you can't artificially prop it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this reminds me of a point in Fantano's video about Trent Reznor, right? When talking about like electronic music, like the argument being that like anything on the grid isn't cool, basically. Like it's too it's too rigid and it doesn't have vibe. And it's like, well, what about like all the music that relied on drum machines?
Yeah.
Or synthesizers, like all these things. And Trent Reznor is mentioned. And it's like, yeah, like that alone, how much music can you make with just plugins?
Shit.
How much music can you make with
clearly not robotic.
just a keyboard, an actual QWERTY keyboard and a musical keyboard and plugins, right? You could make a whole album with that for very little overhead.
They mentioned drum beats that swing being something you can't do on the grid. And I kind of thought, well, first of all, yes, you can. Computers know how to swing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's mathematically just repeatable, but.
Right. Go ahead.
Oh no! I mean that's we're just riffing. That's part of the same thing, but
totally. So
you can make things in plugins. Yeah.
So this also kind of reminds me. Follow me here. Maybe a bit of a leap.
Okay.
I think it was Walrus Audio. Was it? Hang on. Let me fact check myself first before I start speaking.
What if it was like a podcast, but
it is
live on the air? You're making up your topics, and where the conversation's going to go is totally unplanned, and you just keep looking up the information right there on the spot.
Yeah. So let me. You can pull this up and put it on screen if you'd like. This is now it's sold out, but this is the greatest shirt to ever grace the music industry, and the greatest take, I think, to that. Like, this is the kind of thing I need guitar people and guitar culture to really be mindful of and be aware of. It says all rig, no gig. And I fucking can't agree more. And it's it's amazing because a pedal company put it out. So that's...
Yeah, it's Walrus. Yep.
I love it. All rig, no gig. And that's the thing. It's now, I'm just having a realization at this very moment. When I'm in a band, this might be when I care about gear less.
Because there's gigs. No more rigs.
Because there's gigs, and because there's something else with guitar that's pulling my attention, right? It's the thing that I can really sink my teeth into and invest in with guitar as a hobby and as an interest and stuff is the doing it part, and the gear is obviously a means to that, but is sort of secondary. It is a very close race, but it is not first. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe when I'm not in a band, I can dive into the really minute details between this clawin and that clawin, and that's kind of fun.
You just don't have time when you're actually playing.
When I'm actually playing and on a stage and I can't tell the difference. I sound like a snob saying that, but if I can't tell the difference, then that's when it counts, right? Me in my bedroom here.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It's no gig. It's all rig and no gig.
Oh my goodness.
We just filled an hour on a whole lot of nothing.
We've just done it. We topicked that.
Look at this. I know we say this all the time, but I sit down here sometimes and I'm like, is the show going okay? Is the tone control okay overall? Is this still good? Is this what the people want? Is this what I want? And then we bang one out and it's fuck, that was great. We made some awesome points. We sound so smart.
The last 3 or 4 episodes we've done, I've left this room afterwards thinking, again, with basically no idea. We keep... One of these days, here's what's going to have to happen, because I walk into the room beforehand thinking, what the fuck are we about to do? Because I don't know. And then I leave the room. Is that a curious
thought? Is that I can't wait to find out?
It's a little bit of fear. I'm not super stressed about this show, right? It does, even though there are other people listening, it does kind of feel like this to me. So that's okay, right? And I don't think we've really fucked up. Not really bad and not very often. But that's the thing. So it's sort of, there's a little bit of oh my God, what am I going to do? But it has kind of always worked out. I don't know. So then when I leave, it's well, shit. We're really, one of these days we're going to have to blow it. And then that's going to, because otherwise there's no kick in the ass.
I think because we're bi-weekly, we have the luxury of saying let's do that again. We could revisit the episode if it's absolute dog shit.
Okay.
We could
wow, yeah,
come back the next day and be a little more fresh and have an idea.
We could end up with a lost episode because it's you do not want to hear that episode.
It's real bad.
What would it be like if we were to take this? Okay, so now we're on this thought. What if tomorrow what if 5 minutes from now we realize this is shit? We sound like idiots. And tomorrow we sit down and we're basically going to redo this, but it's going to be good this time.
I think we would end up just saying like, yeah, so we're canning this episode, but for context, here's what we said. Just repeat it all.
Ourselves. Oh my God. It would be so fun and awkward at the same time. It would actually probably not be fun. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's there's the fear, right? It's a little bit of just reading one chapter ahead of the class.
Yes.
But it's like way shorter than that. You know, it's not even a whole chapter. It's like a page ahead of the class. I'm like
goodness. I like read the answer right before I raised my hand, or I didn't raise my hand, kind of thing. Holy cow. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just about an hour. There was a couple of things that Derek
we'll do them next time.
Oops, I didn't mean to put that on that's fine. We'll do them next time. There was a couple of things that we almost did, but then this conversation just kept going, and that's what podcasts are meant to be, right? So
yeah. This is all to say, music from the 90s is good.
It's good. And it doesn't have to be the best ever to still be good.
Look at the song Good by Better Than Ezra. This is a perfect example. Not a great song. Not the most complex or compelling, but catchy and sticks in your head, and it encapsulates the 90s.
This episode kind of came out like a TED Talk, didn't it? Because there's a thesis statement, but it's one of those disguised clever ones at the beginning. And then we circled the idea a couple of times on the page, and then we brought it back at the end, kind of thing. I mean, I feel like we didn't know we didn't know we were doing it, but like from the opening remarks, it was like it was like
really good stand up when they refer back to the first joke and it kills. Yeah.
I hope this killed. I hope just a second ago when you brought it back to that song, I hope that killed and the audience laughed out loud. We don't know because this isn't live, but
that would be really funny to say, like on a hot mic. You're just kind of, I hope they liked that one.
I do hope they liked that one. Otherwise, well, whatever. I think it was good.
About the gig again for a quick second.
Yeah.
The night before, this was Friday, so Thursday night, the night before the gig, the air conditioner broke at the Chasquin. And we are in the throes of heat here.
Yep. Samesies.
It's been over 90 for over a week. It's going to be for the next like 4 or 5 days. It's been awful. Yeah. Probably the most I've ever sweat on stage. I have certainly set some kind of record for myself. And some of the guys in the band are still in I'm not wearing shorts on stage because I don't want to look like a dork. And I'm like, I'm almost 37 and I am over that so hard. Like I cannot stress. Like I would black out. I would completely pass out if it was. So we get up on stage and it's hot as balls. And like it's hard to play because my hands are all sweaty, slipping on the strings. There's like no grip. Sucks. It is so hot. It was, the room itself was 80, and God forbid you
can't do pants like that though. Like so much of your pants covers so much of your surface area. That's my rabbit ears right there. I am so unbelievably hot if I'm wearing pants. I wear pants so few weeks out of the year. And I mean, I live in Ohio now, so it's a little bit different, but still.
Sure. Still. But yes. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Fucking A.
So
like when when you go to bed and it's hot, you stick a leg out from under the blanket.
Oh yeah, it's your temperature regulating leg, obviously.
I had to teach that to my daughter 3 days ago.
I remember discovering that and being like, I've done it.
See, I think I discovered it on my own too. My stupid ass daughter had to be taught. No, because she was like, hey, can you turn down the air conditioning? I'm like, oh, girl, it's like heat index 104 The air conditioning is always running. Changing it won't change anything about what it's doing. You got to stick your legs out. And she's like, but I'm used to my cozy, massive blanket thing, you know? And I'm like, girl, choose how you want to live.
Late at night, a few days ago, browsing Reddit, I see someone post that they're in a part of the country that's very hot right now, but they like to sleep with a blanket for the weight, for the texture, all that stuff. Yeah. Not the texture, but like the physical, the weight. And but it's super fucking hot. So he made a blanket out of aluminum chainmail.
That's just conducting his heat away from him.
Yeah. Yep.
But imagine how fucking noisy it is. This is a person who lives alone. You're waking yourself up. Oh my God, what the hell was that?
It just sounds like someone's
you forget about it.
Shaking their keys.
You wake up from a dream in the night. You're like, what's this on me?
I could not get over it's the amount of body hair that it would probably pinch a little bit.
Oh my God.
Would be unbearable.
You know, some people don't have very much body hair. Maybe this person is just the right composition to be able to survive aluminum chainmail. My God.
It's brilliant.
That's so funny. Oh man, I don't care about that. I'll do like a sheet and all 4 of my limbs are sticking out from the sheet.
Yeah, it's like
that's
just
how
your
I'll
torso.
Sleep. Yeah, if it's really hot, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm a star, right? Because I mean, I know how thermodynamics works. So
right. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's that weird thing of like needing the coverage, but like if you sleep just with no blanket, you look insane. And like there's it feels like one of those things that should be illegal. You look like a drunk.
That's what's going on. You're
like things that aren't illegal but feel like they are, like walking down the street holding a glass full of water.
Yeah.
Not illegal, but probably should be.
But you're like, oh my God, this is a glass.
Yeah. Yeah. What if I drop it? What if you drop it in your house? That's no different. One more thing that just came to mind is a really funny thing on this whole thing about being hot and stuff.
Love it.
If you're ever naked and want to feel more naked.
Which I am sometimes. Okay.
You ever want to feel more naked? Put shoes on.
Is that your thing of the week?
That's my thing of the week. No, I have a real thing of the week. But yeah, let's get there. Let's do thing of the week.
Let's do thing of the week before we go on too far. We're gonna do the DRV. Oh wait, I already had this tab open. Hold on. All right, here you go. I've got one for you.
Lay it on me.
This is
this what you texted us about?
I don't know if wife texted you /us in our group chat about this because I may have missed that. But this is a game that we picked up called The Fox Experiment. It is a board game. So the idea is this, you know the Fox Experiment in Russia where they selectively bred the friendliest foxes and then the friendliest from those offspring and so on and so on.
Oh, okay. I did not know that, but okay.
Yeah, okay. So this is sort of a famous evolutionary experiment. They did this thing on a farm in Russia a long time ago. They just picked out foxes that were the least ornery, right, and just kept breeding them generation after generation, and they got friendlier to humans. They also got curly tails and floppy ears and
turned into
spotted color patterns, and they started to bark.
Huh.
Yeah. Anyway, really interesting. Look it up. It's a real thing. This is a board game sort of vaguely based on, not vaguely, exactly based on this. And it has so many little bits and bobs, but it also
I
has
like a game with a marker.
Yeah, it's got a dry erase marker and a bunch of the cards are made to be written on because like as you start out, basically you have a kennel of foxes, you pick a male and a female and breed them, and then you roll dice that contain their various characteristics to create the characteristics of the offspring. And they quickly start to get a lot of friendly traits, a lot more than their parents had. And that's when the offspring you draw with the marker and you get to name them yourself and you mark off what traits you got in your dice rolls. And then those go into the next generation. And then the players are selecting from those and we're building new and on from that. To get points, and there's some other things. So there's some engine building aspects to it.
I was just
There's
going to
some-
ask you if it's what type of game it is, but I
Yeah,
like that.
so I guess it would be a combination of like an engine building versus and also like some dice allocation. Technically, there's little pieces that you place, but it's not really worker placement is like a very small aspect of it. But anyway, it's one of these games that kind of combines things. But the main thing is that deck building or engine building and the dice allocation. Because the first breed, there's like almost nothing going on. And then by the time we get to generation 5, you know, we have we have these wildly, and you know, so it was really fun. We've only played it once, but and it's really well made. And you know what? The box isn't hard to pack back up.
Oh, that's good.
The thing just fits in its own box. I can't say good enough about that.
Yeah.
For a game.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate like packing up a game when you're like, how was this put together when I opened it?
It's like I got it one time. Well, plus they're never like that because you open them and then you have to punch out all the cardboard bits.
Right. Yeah.
So
or God forbid it's a game like
Yeah.
Wingspan where you assemble a dice tower.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Wingspan came with directions for how they expect you to get it back
true.
in there, which is nice, but it also means that that's because there's no other way to do it. This one there's just enough space in there. Because there's just an astonishing number of dice that come with this game. But they all just you just kind of like put them in this opening, and I shook it a little bit, and they all sort of fell into a square next to each other, so it was fine.
Good. That's good.
The cards are all like of 2 different sizes, even though there's like a million different kinds of cards, so they just slot into their little thing. It was just anyway, good game, really fun, and a well-made box. So you're getting it from both ends.
I have this thing with board games where if the box lid and the box base are not oriented the same way, it makes my skin crawl. Like I want to die. I absolutely hate it. You'll see me on game night, you'll see me look at the bottom of a box before putting the lid on because I cannot live with myself knowing that there's a box with a misaligned lid. Makes me lose my mind. Anyway, speaking of organizational things, my thing of the week is Gridfinity. And this has been around.
I think I've heard of this.
This is a 3D printing thing, sort of.
Oh, got it.
Gridfinity is an organizational modular storage system that's open source and is entirely based on a 42 millimeter grid, or a grid of 42 millimeter squares, I should say. And by making this totally open source and parametric design, you can customize all of the things to fit in those squares that you could ever imagine. So I've made a Gridfinity setup for my workbench downstairs where I've got like, all my 3D printing tools and supplies and bits and bobs for my workbench, pliers, nippers, things like that. And there is a thing for whatever thing you want to organize in a nice, clean, nested box that fits in a grid. It is very, very satisfying. So that Gridfinity nipper stripper plier rack thing, like I made that. And that is a 2x4 grid thing, and it holds like 6 pairs of pliers, nippers, wire cutters, whatever.
Oh, this is gonna explain it, this picture. I can tell if I click through to here.
Yes, here we go. Printables.
This is gonna tell you exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah. So, and then right there, you can see that's a small grid that's like a 3x3, and he's got some different containers printed and sitting on top of it, and you can move them around. So this is the thing, like the bins are not fixed to the grid, and you can reorganize it, reconfigure the grid any which way. It'll all fit in every orientation, and you can organize to your heart's content. So because it's open source, there's a fucking billion of bins out there. People have made bespoke bins for things in their shops, in their lives. People are Gridfinity-ing their kitchens and stuff. So all your kitchen drawers have a grid in them. And let's take the potato masher, right? America's most wanted for not being able to open a drawer, right? Imagine your potato masher has a perfectly nested thing that it can sit into. A form-fit thing, a little half of a box. And it always goes there, It never goes anywhere else because it can't.
Droids aside, I mean, this is what 3D printing is all about.
Bingo. You see, so you found it, right? It's all the stuff of like, well, this one holds 6 standard sized Sharpies. This one holds 4 jumbo Sharpies. This one holds, 9 of the tiny Sharpies. And you can make them all in varying heights. But I need 5
jumbo Sharpies. Okay.
Guess what? You can do it.
Guess what? Yeah. Type it in.
And so it's all parametric. Or just
probably draw it yourself because these are pretty simple STLs, right?
Pretty simple. Yep. So you can open it up in Fusion, or I've been learning Tinkercad on the side, which is a free, also made by Autodesk, which is a free and open source, not open source, but it's free to use, and it's entirely web-based 3D modeling software. So I've been working on a little bit of that, and I've made myself some Gridfinity bins for the things in my shop, and I think that's amazing. So I've gone around and like measured with my calipers, what is the diameter of this paint bottle? And then I can go into my Gridfinity stuff, either find one that fits, or somebody out there in the open source community for this made solid forms of all the different shapes. So what you do is you make a positive of the thing that you're trying to make a bin for, and Boolean subtract it from the solid form.
You're like casting in software.
Yes, exactly. And so like I went and found like, well, my super glue bottle has an oval base and it's these dimensions, right? So I make a cylinder and expand the parameters and it just turns it into an oval. And then you just insert it into the form and you say like, make this a hole instead of a solid. And boom, it does. I can then send it directly to my printer and within an hour have this part that fits my setup. It's fucking
if it's a
awesome.
thing, it's not going to tip over or anything. Like so it looks like they kind of like have a click in, almost like a Lego kind of situation.
Yep. So they can. There's a few different models. They can be the grid can be screwed in to whatever it's on. Like if you want it permanently fixed, you can also. I'm not doing that. Mine's just loose. Because I have so far as you use it, you'll find a better setup, right? You'll find a way to optimize it.
You don't want to lock it down on day one.
Yeah, because like, I need
maniac.
I'm reaching for my isopropyl alcohol and I knocked over my super glue accelerant, right? Well, now I want those two separated because I'm not going to use both of those at the same time. So you can think as you like dial that in, then if you
like
wanted,
some kind of maniac.
Right.
I'm just trying to be part of the conversation.
Yeah. So there's also, this one's got the little inserts for magnets. So you can magnetize the whole thing and they're thick enough using a specific size magnet that they recommend. It will not magnetize the parts in the bins, which is awesome. I have all these ones that are to hold like nuts and bolts and little screws and little nails and things like that. And it's a, like think of a cube without a top. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a box, but the inner front is, the inside wall of the front is sloped. So you can scoop one out very easily without having to like dig and fiddle it in the corner of this shape. All this little stuff, it's brilliant. It is the most like overwhelming and eye-opening thing for home organization. As weird as that sounds, it's wild. And the 42 millimeter thing is like a little bit of a nod to Hitchhiker's Guide, but it's also just that like so many things happen to fit in that shape.
Yeah, it looks like a good size for tools.
It's great, dude. Like it's endless.
Well, plus you can go bigger. Like that's the thing about these things. It's like you said, you had something that was like a 4x2 kind of situation. Like you put something that contained, like, so 42 can, you really could have been any size.
It could have been,
more or less. It could be. They could be like little Lego pegs for all we care.
Speaking of Lego, Tinkercad for 3D modeling also supports Lego building. So you can like design your own Lego instructions and models and stuff in Tinkercad to then build out later in the physical world. It does the same for Minecraft, actually, which is fucking nuts. It's also got stuff for coding, like code blocks it uses, and you can also learn circuit design in Tinkercad as well. Which blows my friggin' top.
That sounds like a lot, man.
Well, like look at my pit droid back here. Like if I want to add lights to this someday, I can go design the circuit and get my bill of materials from it before even touching a soldering iron and know that my circuit's going to work. You know,
because simulated it. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking great. It's so great.
Fucking A.
I know Gridfinity is a little hard to explain, and it's extremely dorky, but
Oh no, I don't think that's hard to explain. Well, I mean, hey listener, if you thought that was hard to explain, shut up. You're an idiot.
It's
because this makes perfect
amazing.
sense.
It's amazing what people are doing with it. So, and what's nice too is like there's like I've got these 1x4 space bins, but on the top they're all subdivided into different amounts. So some of them are one big bin, some of them are 6 little bins. And they all take up the same footprint, but they're organized in different ways, and I can orient them vertically or horizontally or whatever. So, God, it's good.
So there.
It's good. Anyway, that's my thing.
Fantastic. Well done. Well done job, goodness, and stuff. Well, it's that time of the show where
time of night.
It's over. It's becoming over. So, okay. So anyway, thanks for joining us. Huh?
What was that?
I don't know. Did I?
You went, oh, okay.
Oh, I just looked at what was happening in our note sheet.
Oh, I added our patrons who we should thank.
We should thank our patrons, and I think I was just making note of the name there. Yes. Well, thanks for coming with us on this journey. It really was. I mean, we joke that we don't prep, but like this one, Derek honestly did slightly prep, and then we didn't do any of it. That was wild.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
That was wild. But anyway, that was nice. It was a nice chat. And thanks for coming on this journey with me, as I said. And thanks especially to the patrons who are better than a normal listener. Let's just be honest about it. I don't think we should mince words.
Patrons of the Tone Control are just widely understood to be, better people.
Yeah.
More attractive. Make more
luckier.
Money. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Luckier. Yep.
Yeah.
Kinder.
If they choose to
happier.
gamble, which they might not, because they're also very moral.
Fitter. Better. Happier. More productive. All these things.
All the things.
Yeah.
You can learn how to become one of these better people at patreon.com/thetonecontrol. But anyway, also in the show notes, you'll find that link as well as links to the Discord and our newsletter, which gets almost no traffic. So you can rest assured that signing up for it is definitely a good idea. You will not be spammed.
Can we confirm?
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. And thanks especially to those good patrons who include... Oh, wait. I didn't play the music. Hold on. Wait. There we go.
See
now
how unprepared we are? It's real.
See?
Let's do this.
See?
Let's get out of here.
Whatever. Okay. Thanks especially to Rabbi Bob, Stingo Rarr, Carson Ricketts, Mathew Fenselau, Riesenwolf, Brian Gower of the Tone Jerks podcast, Andrew Walsh of Andrew's Alcove, Sean Wright of Lollygagger Effects, Doug Gann, and of course, Eric with his dumb, unchanged name, which I didn't realize it said that anyway.
Yep.
Because he missed it. He must be on it. He must have a gig. He hasn't been talking about gear very much lately, so he must have had a gig.
I'm going to change his nickname right now. Warning, do you want to change his nickname? Yes, I do. Eric.
Yes, I do.
And his dumb, unchanged name. Save. Got it.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Bye.